diverse mental health disciplines. We deeply appreciate you taking out the time to join us today and even look forward to your active engagement to ensure the success of this CME. To commence today's proceedings, I have the honor of inviting our distinguished dignitaries to the dais. We are privileged to have with us our chief guest, Professor Dr. S.K. Khandelwal, sir. Sir has honorably retired as the professor and head of the Department of Psychiatry and as chief of the National Drug Dependence Treatment Center at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Professor R.K. Chadha, sir, the current professor and head and chair of the organizing committee for this CME. We are also honored to have in our presence our special guest, Professor K.K. Verma, sir, the esteemed dean. The esteemed Dean Academic for All India Institute of Medical Sciences. I request we are privileged to welcome Dr. Vinay Kumar, the respected president of the Indian Psychiatric Society.
भाई आप लोग कभी भी पटना जाए तो उनकी इजाजत के बिना उनके सहयोग के बिना मत जाए
Lastly, it's my honor to invite Professor Ramesh Lal, sir, Chief National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, to the dais. I request Sharon, sir, to also join the dais. To honor our distinguished guests, we will be presenting a memento on the behalf of both the organizing committee of the Aiims Psychotherapy Specialty Section and the Department of Psychiatry and NDTC Aiims, New Delhi. May I request Dr. Ayushi to step forward and felicitate our chief guest, Professor S.K. Khandelwal, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope it survives.
Next, I request Dr. Bishar to felicitate our special guest, Professor K.K. Verma, sir, Dean of Aiims. I request Dr. Ayushi to honor Dr. Vinay Kumar, the President of Indian Psychiatric Society. As we initiate the ceremony, I feel honored to introduce Professor R.K. Chadha, sir, the chairperson of the organizing committee for this CME. Sir serves as the head of the Department of Psychiatry at Aiims, New Delhi, an esteemed diplomat of the International Academy of Medicine, Counseling and Psychotherapy. He is also recognized as a distinguished international fellow of the American Psychiatric Association and as a fellow of both Royal College of Psychiatrists of India and National Academy of Medical Sciences India. Sir has made notable works in various psychiatric societies, including past presidencies of the Indian Association of Social Psychiatry and the Indian Psychiatric Society Work Zone. His accolades in psychiatry are commendable with 30 national awards, including the Bharam Murtala Oration by Indian Psychiatric Society, the Pilar Venkudara Award by ICMR, and the General Oration by Aiims. Sir, I request you to please come to the dais and extend a welcome to our distinguished guests and delegates.
Professor Sudhir Khandelwal, ex-professor and head developmental secretary and chief NDDC. I have been very long association with Dr. Khandelwal for nearly 30 years. Professor K.K. Verma, Dean Academics, Dr. Vinay Kumar, President, Indian Psychiatric Society, especially come from Patna. In fact, he is on a very wide tour of the country. He has come from Rishikesh and I don't know where he is going now from here. Dr. Rakesh Lal, Chief NDDC, my colleague Dr. Sharan, our alumni, and Dr. Nitish family, who has traveled from UK for this workshop. And residents, faculty colleagues, and guests. It's a great pleasure that we are organizing this event, which will go on for 2.5 days or 3 days. We wanted to have it at much more grandiose level, but later we thought that when we conducting this event without any support from pharmaceuticals and with the support from alumni, and we have been able to generate adequate funds. So we'll be able to organize this event without any financial problems. So that's a great achievement. In fact, I wanted to show to the all our students that we can organize any such event without pharma support. So that this event would stand a good example. Now, coming to the topic of this program, that's workshop on CME. Workshop is a part of the CME. CME on combined psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy, which is organized an activity of Psychiatric Society's psychotherapy specialty section. Psychotherapy is something which has often been ignored in the postgraduate training programs in India. In fact, the Department of Psychiatry at Chandigarh, that is to credit to Dr. V.K. Verma and Dr. N. Wake, introduced psychotherapy in the postgraduate training. Humans started this kind of training program in the 1980s. Besides that, formally, I don't think psychotherapy is taught anywhere else in the country. So in that background, this CME becomes very, very important. And often, what happens is that our postgraduates and psychiatrists feel that they have not been trained, they can't do psychotherapy, and so it comes out of such activities, such programs. There are online courses available on different psychotherapies, CBT, personal therapy, and so on. And people, some of the psychiatrists who are interested, they do run such programs and they are able to get some training. Psychiatrists are afraid of psychotherapy. So in that background, this is a very important initiative. We could develop programs some years ago, but in half years of COVID, we could not do such programs. So last year we have done one program which was a child of Dr. Sharan, and this year we are doing it at a slightly lower level. I mean, the coming years we hope that we will be at a much larger level. I hope all of you will be sensitized the need for psychotherapy, how we can combine psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy, clinical practice. And that way, this program, as well as models and lectures being given by we have got and experts will be giving their access tomorrow. So this you'll find very useful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the warm welcome. Now we shall proceed to the lighting of lamp to mark the beginning of this academic journey. I request our esteemed guest to please join us in front of the lamp for the lighting of the diya.
All right. Thank you, Deeksha. Professor Khandilwal, Senior Consultant, Puri Family Hospital, and our previous HOD in Chief. Professor K.K. Verma, the Dean of Aiims, Dr. Vinay Kumar, the President of IPS, Professor Rakesh Chandra, Professor Rakesh Lal, and Kashik Sinhadev. And friends and colleagues, millions of people each year live with mental disorders that causes significant distress and disability. Evidence-informed practice of combining psychotherapy with pharmacotherapy is becoming the preferred approach to caring for people. It's already quite common to combine the two forms of treatments. Studies that have explored the mechanism of interaction between pharmacotherapy and psychotherapy reveal several positive interactions between them. Pharmacotherapy aids absorption of psychotherapy by increasing the patient's concentration and decreasing distorted thinking and painful mood state. So they engage better in psychotherapy. When psychotherapy aids pharmacotherapy by increasing medication avoidance, the understanding of illnesses, and assisting people in dealing with stress, interpersonal conflicts, and socio-occupational functions. So they are naturally complementary to each other. Increasing specialization, combined therapy is often practiced by two therapists, with psychiatrists focusing on medication management and psychologists emphasizing psychotherapeutic approaches. Such situations call for close collaboration between the different therapists, otherwise the therapy misses occasionally. However, there are also situations in which psychiatrists simultaneously conduct medication management and psychotherapy, wherein the integration of two modalities is seamless. We have with us experts in the field who will be speaking tomorrow, Dr. Sanjeev Jain, Subhu Chakraborty, Vijay Krishnan, Somnath Sengupta, and Harishankar Kaloria. We will discuss the expanding evidence base related to combined psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy, and also the practical issues in their integration, how it should be done on the ground. Of biological psychiatry has affected residency training program regarding psychotherapy, as we announced in the lecture by Professor Rakesh Chadda tomorrow. The development of psychotherapeutic competencies can be considered to be multi-level. At a simpler level, we can basic psychotherapy stance and supportive work, while at a more kind of expert level, practitioners and mental health should be able to demonstrate sophisticated knowledge and application of theories and techniques of trained psychotherapists. So psychiatrists can practice as psychiatrists who are doing psychotherapy in a mostly a supportive way, and they can become expert psychotherapists and they can practice as medical psychotherapists in that sense. Doctors will which value take up issues related to psychotherapy of residents. The issue of medical psychotherapy comes up when psychiatrists do psychotherapy. In a sense, medical psychotherapy, psychotherapeutic psychiatry refers to the skill that enables the practitioners to move beyond the identification of the as a diagnosed problem to identification of the person who has a problem. So it's more person-centered. The panel discussion on medical psychotherapy will be moderated by Dr. Alok Sarin tomorrow, and we will discuss the contours of this landscape. Resource constraints can increase scaling up of psychotherapy services. Group work can lead making psychotherapy available to greater numbers at low cost. So psychological therapy can be delivered in a group format. In addition, group work, a specific treatment for which employs group processes as a medium to get about psychological change exists. Has come from UK and lead the experiential session on the concept to practitioners just after the session. Psychiatrists is to listen, discuss, and enhance the well-being of people living with mental health conditions. When and how to put these conditions into practice is crucial to helping patients lead healthier, fulfilling lives through the state-of-the-art clinical care. I would like to thank Dr. Vinay Kumar and the executive of IPS for entrusting me with the work of psychotherapy specialty section. I am grateful to my colleagues of the specialty section, especially Dr. Geeta Desai, for helping conceptualize and execute this program, and my department and see and our alumni for the leadership support. We are grateful to the acoustic faculty of the CE who are sharing their verified expertise with you, funding your own travel and stay. We are fortunate to have such individuals who love for teaching and mentoring transcends all resource constraints. Friends, I hope we will immensely benefit from the largesse of this general source. I would like to welcome to the CME and later to the afternoon today, and I would thank you for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, it is with great pride that we introduce Professor Rakesh Lal, sir. Sir is the current Professor-in-Chief at MTC Department of Psychiatry. Sir is pivotal coordinator the efforts of these ministries in substance use control, including the Ministry of Health, Social Justice, and Ministry of Finance, involving various international organizations like Plan, WHO, and UNODC to the impact of items. Physicians, nursing personnel, and paramedical staff in India and Southeast Asia in both pharmacological and non-pharmacological interventions. His books that serve as essential resource materials for students and invaluable to all of us. He has a provision role in pharmacology and policies in India as well as in the countries. He's also member of the national counterparts of WHO and the Informal Scientific Network He has awarded publications in national and international journals and is the author of 6 books. His main area of interest include adult substance, global diagnosis, alcohol abuse, chronic disorders, and capacity building. So, to share his insights with the esteemed audience.
Thank you so much for the kind words. Respected members in the dais, Professor Kandalwal, Vinay Kumar, K.K. Verma, Professor Chanda, Professor Sharon, and esteemed delegates. We'll be discussing mental health treatment that involves integration of both psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy. Modern psychiatry, it was psychotherapy all the way. Soon you realize that maybe for some acutely ill patients, soon you realize for some acute patients, you need something more. I mean, that's when the idea of chemical imbalances started. I mean, at this point of time, I can't help but resist speaking with, I'm sure you know about Ray Asheroff. I mean, he was a nephrologist who was suffering from depression. And I'm not talking about 16th and 17th century. I'm talking about late 70s, just about 5 years ago. He was suffering from depression. He was admitted to Chestnut Lodge, a respectable institution, and given psychotherapy. He did not go for more than a year, which they took a call that he needed pharmacotherapy. And a small dose of amitriptyline was started. He showed remarkable improvement. I mean, he so much so that he actually became what is called a poster boy for pharmacotherapy. But the story does not end there. I mean, what happened later was that he had compromises, little relationships, the family members, inflated self-worth, and ultimately he died alone with poor stability. I mean, that's when post hoc he was diagnosed as he may be having narcissistic personality disorder. So, which is where we got the idea that he was the ideal case for both pharmacotherapy and psychotherapy. I mean, just one did not work. He was the ideal case for both. And now we understand that mental illnesses cannot be simplified just to chemical imbalances. And there has to be something more than that. What we keep talking about, psychosocial and psychosocial aspects. I mean, that's something that we have to understand. And the combination is necessary for both a holistic and a personalized intervention. It has to be personalized. Some people need more of this, some people need more of that. Majority need both. I mean, that's something. It's very rarely that it's not like fever that you give paracetamol and the fever improves. There has to be something more than that, which is where the idea comes along that the integrated course, of pharmacotherapy and psychotherapy works best for majority of the patients. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It is my distinct honor to introduce Dr. Vinay Kumar, a stalwart in the field of psychiatry, a renowned academician, and also an accomplished author. Sir serves as president of the Indian Psychiatry Society and the secretary of the Suicidology Specialty Section for the World Association for Social Psychiatry. Beyond institutional roles, he is a dedicated consulting psychiatrist at the Military Pine Hospital and Research Center in Patna. His editorial contributions include esteemed works like the Aiims textbooks of psychiatry, social psychiatry principles and critical perspectives, and several others that have shaped the psychiatric discourse in India. He has delivered talks at both national and international levels. But beyond his clinical and academic prowess, he is a soulful poet and an insightful author, having done significant course on mental health and scientific poetry collections. His literary contributions have been recognized with awards such as the Indian Medical Association's Ramachandra and Murthy Award in 2007, the Ayodhya Prasad Khatri Awards, that's 2020 seller, in 107 triples. With such a vast reservoir of knowledge and experience, I request Sir to bless the audience with his words and insights.
On the diets. We use of the day, that's an advisor. Myself. Dr. Rakesh Ram, Secretary, Dr. Rakesh Chopra, Secretary Section Chairperson, Dr. Pradhan Sharan, and all faculty, Dr. Anil Shaya, I see friends here. I'm second time in my life in this hall. When we had, when I was the secretary of High Court and the organization, workshop and evaluation, and combined methodology for about therapy, psychotherapy. So to combine these two, kind of 80% of psychiatry is covered. So the students visit to this hall, I request this hall, even I this. It is important for all of us to understand the importance of psychotherapy. Regarding psychiatric training, the majority of us are trained in set up the patients coming to treat patients. When I talk about myself, I'm training in the college. I'm for pharmacotherapy and psychotherapy. We were not able to training in psychotherapy. Started coming to Aiims conferences. I attended workshop of psychotherapy. I improve of psychotherapy, and especially when I met Dr. Salman Akhtar, one of the brightest named psychoanalysis in the world, realized the importance of psychotherapy. You become tired. When you have a psychotherapy session, you should be relaxed. You also feel relaxed. This is one discipline of psychiatry, one type of therapeutics, which helps you in understanding people better. It helps you in making you more compassionate. It makes you that importance of psychotherapy. It's better psychiatrist. So the importance of psychotherapy is not only for patients recovery, our mental health perspective. Because the patient burnout, it would pursue the entire world. Months back, there was a broad psychiatry conference where we were discussing that we're going to collaborate with research consortium, public research consortium. The first team came from the professional burnout. So another thing I would like to share that the psychotherapy is this method that we here. That started with certain doctors like that, and after all, we realized that these things are not working for something else. So some medicinal plants came in the picture. But before that, what was taking care of us? When the language is not developed, what was? There was music, there was art. All struggles of life for our ancestors, put on walls of troops, the artistic expression. Because expression of their rights, their emotions as well. See, Not before this. But after the number of dollars, that was the one first story. And he started helping them. If you look back, visualize, and projects of all these things. I remember when he was published, very important work is known as Health Illness in 67. So, scoping of previous works published in countries. So, it includes 700 publications. It's a very massive work. And if you look through, you find that there are numerous evidence that all pursuits help you in the condition, treatment, prevention, which are completely biological. So the relationship is very close and things are declining. That is the importance of the Bible, treatment, psychotherapy, and pharmacotherapy. Friends, the scriptures have helped us a lot. I remember, I remember Strauss Professor Anthropologist, he said that our ancestors were skillful, all the mythological spirits of all entities. They have the mind for us to understand the relationship of human and the universe. Because we are surrounded by awesome kind of things around us, and we do not understand what is the meaning of life. Then we started by source, then we started by the parents, and the whole God, all was like just was to describe the relationship. He says that we were interested intellectuals. You can say that, oh, you understand the condition of the convection of water, H2O and oxygen, nitrogen. You're not interested in that, the distress says. Because there are bigger questions in front of them. The relationship, that entire universe. So now you can think these is the person of the truths. What to do it? And that is the side. These things are helping us in the day. So it goes for some conflict and it's for I started studying English to mythology. Oedipus complex goes in mythology. Our own Dr. Ellen looks at one complex. So there are various things that can conversation on this. So the purpose of saying this is that psychotherapy has been part of culture. Psychotherapy has been taken care of entire humanities across the cultures. But with the development of science, now we are able to pinpoint pathologies, psychopathologies, pinpoint chemical disturbances and start medicines. This will do condition, this will do this, this will do this. But the thing is, life is not about only chemistry. Life is life. We are surrounded by air. We are not surrounded by only oxygen. We are not surrounded by receptors. We are much more than that. Despite all of that, many times it's pathetic. So that's it. So better combine ancestors. It's a favorite history of the IS Academy Society. It's to organize one workshop in 9th and 10th itself, and there was some part that will be source person, then I'm not the workshop will be and psychotherapist will be section and then psychiatrist forum will be Second thing is, I is the six psychosocial but function of Dr. So they are express and not anything Dr. Sambana. Dr. Page is like one of the chapters that book. So and for that, soon we are going to start a survey on what is the status of psychotherapy training and practice in India. So that is help us in understand where we are. So currently, has got lots of things and I have not left psychiatry. So we are also focused on psychotherapy. This workshop. That's what I said, none of them. And psychotherapy, examples. Within 2 years, I will and Professor Prabhakar and one psychiatry works for like works for this inauguration. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We now have the honor of having with us a special guest, Professor K.K. Verma, sir, a paragon of academics and leadership. Sir is currently doing academics and research at Aiims. He's also professor and head of the Department of Dermatology and Neurology, Aiims. He's also honored as inspiring physician by Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh, UK. His important achievements include and examinations of Aiims. He has 170 research publications and 25 chapters and has delivered 180 lectures in things. He has been the recipient of many awards, including for excellence in teaching and research by Aiims in 2016. He was a visiting professor in Germany, consultant to the United Nations, expert in technical advisory on history of health. Presently, he holds important positions in various national and international dermatology organizations, including chair international sexually transmitted infections, Asia Pacific region. In addition, sir is advisor and expert to many bodies of government of India. I request sir to kindly address the gathering.
Thank you very much, Professor Khandelwal, my friend for a very long time, over 30 years. Dr. Vinay Kumar, Professor Rakesh Chadda, Dr. Rakesh Lal, my best friend, Dr. Pratap Chand. We have studied together during that period when we started our medical career. I also see Dr. Rajesh Sagar, Dr. Mankumar, members of the faculty of the department, invited faculty, ladies and gentlemen, and of course the very distinguished delegates who have, I guess, traveled from outside Delhi in other parts of the country also. It's my honor and privilege to be here as a non-psychiatrist. Basically, I'm a doctor, a super specialist who are sitting here. And I think much of an idea as to what would be going on and as to why I am being invited to this kind of function. But maybe by virtue of holding a small position in the institute, they thought maybe the bigger person is not available as the smaller one. I'm very good here. So, but in any case, I thank the Dr. Chanda for doing this. And I said, there are many people amongst the experts, but I'm a lay doctor amongst the super specialist. But I have deep connect with the psychiatry for various reasons. Not just I'm a dermatologist, so not just the skin and the brain are evolving from the same, say, embryonic tissue. Where our offices are there, we share the same floor and the ward. Our wards are just next to each other. I think the people thought that yes, dermatology and psychiatry need to be kept together. And then, of course, lately, the connect become deeper. My daughter is a psychologist. She's under training. She's doing PhD in clinical psychology. She had the opportunity of interacting with several of the faculty members here, starting from Dr. Manju Mehta, under whom she works as observers, and then Dr. Khandelwal has been guiding her from time to time. We were taking help of Dr. Chadda, Dr. Sagar, Dr. Pratap Sharan, and the most from Dr. Nand Kumar, who has been all through assisting her and assisting us also in several aspects of, say, the managing, not just the professional growth, but the other issues also. And I thank him very much from this platform. Also, my interest in psychiatry has been quite a lot. I have not been a dermatologist. Probably I would have been a psychiatrist. And this influence came from the time what was referred to as Professor N.N. Vick, who was a great personality, a very charming person. You talk to him, you will fall in love with him. And it started with something like this when we were doing our postings, undergraduate posting in psychiatry. There used to be few consultant. Dr. Prabhu was there at that time. Of course, Dr. D. Mohan was there. And Dr. Chawla used to be there. But you know, the most crowd will, for some reason, students, they will gather around Dr. V. He was such a charming person and who generated the interest in psychiatry amongst several of our students who are one of my very close classmates in the same group, a small group. We used to be 50 and generally 48. So we have a group of 6 people each. And the 6 people, they will be forming a small group who will go for the postings. And 6 is a small number. So they will know by name by the time you enter and you can finish the posting. So what Dr. Vig used to do, he will invite every batch to home in the evening before somewhere in the middle of the posting to interact with the family, to chat with them, to spend time. But when our batch was posted there, we were just about to finish the posting and we were not invited. We got worried as to what is happening. Is there something wrong with us? So one of the boys, he got up and he said, sir, I have something to say to you. He said, what's this, Samit? He said, sir, we are finishing our posting tomorrow and we haven't been invited. So he immediately called his wife. Cell phones were not there, but OPD phones used to be there. So he called, the boys are going to come today, 6 o'clock, please make arrangements. So we went there, we enjoyed that evening, and the connect has been with Dr. Vick even after he left the institution. So I loved the subject from the beginning, as I said. And what has been said about the psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy, I think they are wedded from the beginning, right from the time. In the ancient time when the bats used to be there, or the traditional used to be there, they will give the medicine and say, Ishwar ke naam pe le lijiye, aap theek ho jayenge. So the medicine is there, and then the psychotherapeutic component is also there. He said, take it in the name of God, and then he says, you will be all right. If he had said you will not be all right, probably the person would not have become all right, or he might not have even have taken the medicine. Forget about if he has become all right or not. And when we were taught pharmacology in the beginning, there used to be a word R, capital, and X, which we were worrying as to what is this. So we asked one of our professors, why is this RX? He said, this is a Latin word, which I probably think meaning that take it in the name of God. So the name of God is the psychotherapeutic component, and medicine, of course, is a pharmacological component, which is there. The recognition, as Dr. Vinay Kumar was also saying, is not so much, but it's a hidden recognition, which is there. If you separate one from the other becomes relatively much less effective or maybe ineffective if you don't emphasize. So prescribing medicine and explaining and telling the patient that is equally important. That is, do this, and this is how you're going to be all right. So saying this, that is, you're going to be all right, makes a huge impact on the patient's outcome. But if you just write and say, send him that test, take this medicine, he might not feel very comfortable. The doctor has not adequately explained, he has not spent time, he doesn't seem to be so concerned about you. But if you say even for the diseases which are very troublesome to treat, and you tell them that yes, take this, you will be all right. They go with the confidence that yes, the pharmaco intervention is there, the psychological intervention is there, and the people do better when the two are there. And we are dealing with the chronic diseases in dermatology. There is a connect between this pharmacotherapy and psychotherapy. In fact, now we are running a project, a student's thesis which Dr. Nandkumar is associated, where we are looking at the impact of psycho intervention in the management of chronic dermatological diseases. And there is a significant change in these patients who are given psychological intervention along with the routine usual therapeutic intervention, which we were doing otherwise also. So it has a great role. And there seems to be now the time, as you're doing, to create awareness amongst the medical community that yes, these two components are important. They have been there together, but the emphasis probably has not been so much. And that emphasis needs to be conveyed to the health professionals and to everyone else, so that yes, two are integral part. They cannot be separated for the well-being and the better outcome of these patients. I would like to compliment and congratulate Dr. Chadda, Dr. Pratap Sharan, and the entire team for having organized this CME, which is very important. I am sure that you would go greatly benefited out of this, and the program I was looking at, it has different components which would deal with these two important aspects of the program. And I wish the CME a grand success. I'm sure you would enjoy it, and I have to leave because I was reluctant to come in this Sunday because I don't get Sundays. So I thought maybe I will have a Sunday today in the morning, but he said, no, 9 o'clock sharp, we will start the program. You reach 5 minutes before 9. But anyway, I enjoyed this. Thank you very much. I was given a write-up, a small write-up, but I didn't have the time to go through that. I'm sorry.
Sir, आप कहना भूल गए कि psychiatry OPD set on top of skin OPD. आप फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे थे, psychiatry OPD सेकंड फ्लोर पे.
अगर आप सेम फ्लोर पे होते तो मैं कहता
लिंक बना हुआ है.
Thank you so much, sir. It is now my extreme honor to be introducing our chief guest for the day, Professor S.K. Khandelwal, sir. Sir has retired as Professor and Head, Department of Psychiatry and Chief, National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, Aiims, New Delhi. He is the former chairperson and member of the governing body of the Global Network for Mental and Neurological Health Research and International Consortium for Mental Health Policy and Services. He is also a board member and former chairperson of National Board of Richmond Fellowship Society for Psychosocial Rehabilitation. Sir is the recipient of various awards instituted by Indian Psychiatric Society, Delhi Psychiatric Society, and the Indian Association of Social Psychiatry. But aside from his professional accolades, Sir has a fervent passion for the outdoors. As an avid trekker, he has ventured into different parts of the Himalayas and has even successfully completed the Kailash Mansarovar expedition organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Not just stopping there, as a member of the Indian Scientific Expedition to Antarctica under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, he has spent an astonishing 5 months in Antarctica. With such an expansive and impressive career, both in spheres of medicine and adventure, I now invite Professor S.K. Khandelwal, sir, to share his invaluable insights with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning and namaskar. This boardroom is very familiar ever since it came into being, I think 25 years ago. Okay, thank you, Kaushik. But coming here this morning as a guest our chief guest is almost surreal because it's a different kind of role which I am going to play this morning. And I thank Professor Pratap Sharan, Professor Rakesh Chadha, and the Department of Psychiatry and the IPS for giving me this privilege to address you here as chief guest of this combined program on psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy. Now, as is the tradition of this department, may I ask a small quiz? Is it okay, Pratap? You can't say no. I'm giving you a phrase. 8 tasks for a healthy mind. Now tell me what this phrase means. 8 tasks for a healthy mind. You know, I have always maintained, and that's my big limit ever, always, that by reading DSM, by reading CTP, we don't become good psychiatrists. We become good psychiatrists when we go outside psychiatric books. You know, when we read newspapers, periodicals, magazines, novels, as Vinay Kumar said about the scriptures and techniques, that's how we become good psychiatrists. Because psychiatrist is not only biological, but he has to be proficient in history, culture, and so many other things. By the way, this 8 tasks for a healthy mind is a Kaushik is looking at the net. Pata yeah. Pata. Now let me complete it. So this is a small self-help group written by none other than our own alumnus, that is Dr. Satya Prakash. By the way, Satya Prakash is now my colleague at the Holy Family Hospital, and where I also have as my colleague Dr. Ankit Gupta and an older than these two, Amitabh Saha. Previously, I also had Anand Dilal, but ever since COVID, he has left. So this Holy Family is now dominated by Department of Psychiatry, Aiims. So this is the book by Satya. I hope we get to see him in the afternoon. He is not here at this time. But it's a very nice feeling to see many of the alumni who have come here from far and wide, and it was a pleasure meeting them this morning. So when we are talking about pharmacotherapy and psychotherapy together, we all know, we have heard it from Pratap, from Vinay Kumar, from Rakesh Lal, and also from our dean here, that psychotherapy is unique to the practice of psychiatry. In fact, as has been said earlier, before the advent of lithium or phenothiazines or second generation drugs, psychotherapy was already there. It was, in fact, it came 50 years earlier than the discovery of lithium in 1949 or chlorpromazine in 1952. Psychotherapy was already established. And even with the second generation of drugs, what has been the limitation? That our rates of recovery and outcome, they have not made very significant improvement. The kind of outcome and effectiveness which you were seeing as from chlorpromazine or from trifluparazine, the newer drugs have not kept that promise. And that has been a big lament. The neurosciences have made a lot of progress. Neurosciences have given us about how drugs work, and they have given in last 30 years concepts like neural plasticity, epigenetics, gene mutation, and gene expression. Why these are important is that the application of neurosciences now in the field of psychotherapy has also shown that the psychotherapeutic processes, they also bring about these changes. And it is said that psychotherapy is nothing but a biological treatment which also induces neuroplasticity, epigenetics, and the gene expression. So it is not just, it is non-drug, but it's a biological treatment. Earlier, there have been persistent doubts about the efficacy of psychotherapy. People who doubted about psychotherapy to be used by psychiatrists, they always lamented, but where is the evidence? Where are the RCTs? Where are the meta-analysis? But now with the better research techniques, now we have got RCTs, which have compared the psychoanalysis with the different psychoanalysis and with drugs. Now we have Cochrane reviews and we have meta-analysis. So psychotherapy is not something which is somebody's figure of imagination, but it's a science, and it has got all the evidences which a scientific treatment approach should have. So psychotherapy or psychoanalysis, which was started by Sigmund Freud. After that, there have been a number of other treatment modalities. You all know about it, but I would just name them, like CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, interpersonal therapy, EFT, that is emotional freedom therapy, the dialectical behavior therapy, psychodynamically oriented psychotherapy, and now we have got medical psychotherapy. In fact, there is a session, I was looking at the program, which talks about medical psychotherapy. I think tomorrow we have that session, Pratap. So that's another branch. So with some disillusionment with the drugs, and with more evidences coming in favor of psychotherapy, new techniques, newer modalities are coming into the field of psychotherapy, and I'm sure that we will adopt some of them in due course of time. Now, question comes that like people were talking about training of psychiatrists, that we do not have enough psychiatric, not enough departments which are imparting this kind of training. So whether it is possible to train psychiatrists in psychotherapy. Now, since this program is by the department and also by the Indian Psychiatric Society, what I was saying has more to do with the psychiatrists in training, but it also includes all the psychologists and social workers who are sitting here. So whether it is possible to train psychiatrists in psychotherapy? Yes, I believe that it is possible. We have all had our training at PGI, where we completed 100 hours of training. And if you look at all the proponents of various forms of psychotherapy, mostly they have been psychiatrists. Though Freud was a neurologist, but you talk of Beck, who gave us CBT, or Erwin Yalom, who gave us existential psychotherapy, and then he shifted to group psychotherapy, or Nathan Ackerman, who gave us family therapy, then Meena Wishman, who was a social worker and who gave interpersonal therapy based on the model of Suleiman, who himself was a psychiatrist. And then Salman Akhtar has been mentioned here. Salman Akhtar trained as psychiatrist at PGI Chandigarh, and now he's a full-time psychoanalyst, and he practices only psychoanalysis in USA. So whether psychiatrists should transfer totally to psychotherapy, or they should continue to use pharmacotherapy and biological therapies? Yes, psychiatrists have dual role, and they are in a unique position because they use drugs, they use psychotherapy, and they are best equipped to investigate a patient in the recent investigative techniques, whether it is to do with the biochemistry or neuroimaging. So they are the right people, and we cannot expect that kind of role from general physicians, clinicians, or even neurologists. So psychiatrists are in a very unique position, and they must capitalize on this. They must exploit that position. if you people read the Lancet sometimes, and now we all know that Lancet has a section, Lancet Psychiatry. In 2017, there was a major article published in the Lancet. This was a combined initiative of World Psychiatric Association and the Lancet Commission on Psychiatry. The title of this article, which I'm going to quote, is The Future of Psychiatry. It is by Dinesh Bhugra and many others. And I quote what he has to say about psychotherapy. The ongoing expansion of clinical research on psychotherapy interventions should lead to broader acceptance of the efficacy of psychotherapy. Unfortunately, the paucity of resources available to deliver psychotherapeutic treatments and the expense and time required to train skilled psychotherapists will substantially constrain most patients to access this form of treatment. Psychiatrists are still unable to predict which patient psychotherapy will be effective, for which patient psychotherapy will be effective, or which form of psychotherapy will be most appropriate for specific patients or illnesses, unquote. So maybe if under the leadership of Professor Pratap Sharan, this process of psychotherapy training picks up in this department or in the country, I think they will like to answer these kind of questions, that what therapy, what kind of patients, what kind of illnesses, and I'm sure that we will be able to get some of these answers in next few years. When we are talking of future, now we cannot have any talk or any scientific session without talking about artificial intelligence or chatbot. I think 2 months back, I was preparing for a talk in PGI, where we also celebrated Diamond Jubilee celebrations. And I was talking to a friend. I was preparing my talk on physical exercises as a tool for public mental health. So I was looking at the references, and believe me, that in last 5 years, the number of articles on physical exercises, they have exploded all over the scientific journals. So I just mentioned that, I'm trying to, and there is so much of literature now, 3,000 articles, 4,000 articles. So he said, why don't you go to chatbot? ChatGPT will immediately solve your problem. It will give you ready-made material to present in the conference. No, I did not do that. But what I'm telling you is that on 4th October, that is just 4 days back, Time magazine has published an article. I think if you get time, you must read it. If you ask me, I will share it with you. And what Time magazine article says, the title is, Can Artificial Intelligence or Chatbots Ever Replace Human Therapists? So it's definitely concerns us that whether people would work on creating those AI-induced chatbots which will make human therapists redundant. I hope not. But we must see what this article says. And I'm happy that I'm doing it today, standing here, because maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, you will just need a AI-induced model to address the audience as chief guest. Those days will come because it's so convenient to do it. So, so what does this? I'm just very briefly, I will. There are already AI-induced chatbots, mediated wellness treatments. Two of the things which I could remember was EarPick and VBot. They are therapeutic applications by artificial intelligence, and a lot of people are using this in America. And maybe you would also like to explore that what exactly this is all about. And the earlier evidence suggests that chatbot can deliver CBT well enough to manage sign symptoms of depression. So it is possible, it is happening, it is real. It is not imagination. It has already begun. And with time, it will continue to be refined and continue to be used by people. 80% of people using ChatGPT found good alternative to regular therapy, because you know that regular therapy in USA is very, very expensive affair. And so this is a very affordable alternative. And with mental health services inadequate, not only in India, but all over the world, even in America, there are potential reasons to rely on them as substitute to human therapists. Now, big question is that can chatbot replace relationship between therapist and client? So far, people have said that they cannot replicate empathy. So that goes a lot in favor of a human therapist. Artificial intelligence induced the chatbot or a computer cannot generate empathy or the relationship, which is so crucial in a psychotherapeutic relationship. And that comes to a famous dodo bird conjecture. Should I ask another question, Pratap? Dodo bird, the question is that in which famous book dodo bird appear? And where do you find dodo bird? If you want to see it, where would you go looking for it? Anyway, do that later. Dodo bird conjecture is that it's a very controversial thing about psychotherapy, that all kind of psychotherapies can be applied to all kind of mental illnesses by all kind of people, and they would produce the same result. That means that the differentiation of various psychotherapeutic techniques may not be important enough, because ultimately everything will be reduced to the same kind of result. So this is dodo bird conjecture, and this is wrong. It is very controversial and doesn't happen like that. All the scientific evidences have shown that different kind of techniques, they work differently for different kind of psychiatric conditions. Fortunately, only 20% of the American adults are comfortable with the idea of AI-assisted mental health care. Only 20%. 80% still believe in human-to-human contact, and more than 60% think that we may get hurt rather than benefit from this kind of treatment. So there is still hope for all of us, and in our lifetime, in your lifetime. So that's the AI chatbot is not going to replace human therapists. So that is what we are dealing with. Where we are today, what is going to happen in the future, and we should not be oblivious to the future. We should, what we do today should also take into consideration that what future holds for us. And I hope that the future remains bright and we continue to thrive as therapists using both kind of modalities and all kind of psychotherapeutic modalities. I was looking at the program, it is very well chalked out, and it has the imprint of Pratap and Rakesh. And I'm sure over the next 2 days, we are going to benefit immensely. And with that, I take leave of you. Thank you very much for listening to me. And thank you very much for inviting me to address you this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. This brings us close to the end of the inaugural ceremony. May I now invite Dr. Kaushik Sinha Deb. Sir is the organizing secretary of the CME and Joint Organizing Secretary of the CME and is currently Additional Professor, Department of Psychiatry and NDTC, Aims, New Delhi.
Thank you all. Good morning, respected dignitaries on the dais, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my privilege and honor to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee of the CME, the Department of Psychiatry and the National Drug Dependence Center, Aims, Delhi, as well as the Indian Psychiatric Society, the Psychotherapy Specialty Section. This CME examines the current status of comorbid psychotherapy and pharmacotherapy from both a clinical and research perspective, and the CME debates the rationale of bringing the biological and the psychological therapies together in a comprehensive treatment approach. Therefore, at the outset, our thanks are due to the Indian Psychiatric Society, the Psychotherapy Specialty Section, for co-organizing this CME along with the department. I thank our chief guest of the program, Professor S.K. Khandelwal, the erstwhile or the previous head of the department and the chief of the center, for gracing this academic program. My heartfelt gratitude is also to our guest of honor, Professor K.K. Verma, Professor and Head, Department of Dermatology and Venereology at Aims, Dean Research, and also the Dean Academics. With so many responsibilities, we thank you for taking some time out of your hectic schedule. I am glad to be able to thank the office bearers of IPS, specifically Honorary President Dr. Vinay Kumar, an academician who has helped the IPS Publication Committee and as well as a poet and author in Hindi literature. Thank you, sir, for being with us here today. Thanks in absentia are also due to the other IPS office bearers, the Honorary Secretary General, Dr. Arabinda Brahma, Vice President Lakshmikant Rati, Honorary Treasurer Aiims Siddiqui, and Honorary Editor O.P. Singh. Thanks are due also to the members of the psychotherapy section, also to the chairperson, again, Professor Pratap Sharan, co-chairperson, Dr. Geeta Desai, who ma'am would be here later, the convener, Dr. Darshan Shah, advisor, Vivek Tipekar, and EC coordinator, Dr. Parag S. Shah. I specifically want to thank Professor Pratap Sharan, chair of this of the psychotherapy specialty section, as well as the organizing secretary of this conference, for highlighting the multifaceted dimensions of psychiatry, the psychotherapy and pharmacology in his opening remarks. I take this opportunity to thank Professor R.K. Chadda, the organizing chairperson and the head of the Department of Psychiatry, for his guidance, suggestions, and encouragement to the entire organizing team from Aims for the support that he has provided us. It is also a happy occasion for me to thank Professor Rakesh Lal, our new chief of NDDTC, after organizational restructuring at the institute. It's our pleasure to have you here, sir, with us. I also take this opportunity to thank the eminent dignitaries of the dais. And this CME is also on the occasion of the Diamond Jubilee celebration of the Department of Psychiatry. And in front of us and with us over the next 2 days would be the past alumni of the department who represent the founding, the current faculty, who are the ones here, and the residents who are the future spring, depicting the flow of time and the eternity of institution which stays. I am humbled to thank you all. At the heart of our CME are our eminent speakers, both here with us and across the world. We are immensely happy and grateful for their presence and contribution to the CME. Our heartfelt thanks are due to all the chairpersons who are gracing this occasion. I thank all the faculty from the Department of Psychiatry, especially Professor R.K. Chadda, Professor Sharan, Professor Sagar, Professor Kumar, Professor Sood, Professor Ramandi, Professor Satpati, and from NDDTC, Professor Lal, Professor Dhawan, Professor Ambekar, Professor Jhaji, Professor Balhara, Professor Rao, Professor Kaloya, Professor Dayal, Professor Vargava, and of course, so these are all the professors. For the rest of my dear colleagues, whose help is ever present and priceless, and therefore I consider it priceless. My heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all the senior and the junior residents and the PhD scholars of the department who have been instrumental and are key to organizing such CMEs in our department. And I extend my thanks to the support staff of our department for their unconditional and wholehearted contributions towards the organization of this CME. Special thanks are due to our CME sponsors, the National Academy of Medical Sciences, NAMS, and the INSA, the Indian National Science Academy. And like it has been said by Professor Chadda and Professor Sharan, we're happy to announce that this conference does not involve any direct or indirect sponsorships from any pharmaceutical companies, and is based solely on the academic support and of the interest of the participants who have registered to come here to us. So a huge thank you to all for registering for the CME. This CME awards participants with 7 hours of academic credit as approved by the Delhi Medical Council, and our thanks are due to the council. At the end of it all, the success of a scientific discourse is always and will be measured by the enthusiastic participation from the delegates. And so at the end of all things, I thank you all, the delegates, for your participation and for making this program a success. I wish you all a happy and a great couple of days of fun-filled learning and connecting with all your colleagues and your alumnus. Before ending my final speech, thanks are due to today's Master of Ceremony, Dr. Dikshal Kalra, to whom I hand over the podium now for the session to begin. Or the session to end. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We shall now mark the end of this inaugural ceremony and mark the beginning of the CME ahead by singing our national anthem. I request all to kindly join and stand up for the same.
Wait.